With a scream of terror, Woke tried to flee, but the spirit was relentless. They surrounded him. Their cold, eager hands gripped him, pulling him into the darkness. Once upon a time in the village of Nanka, there lived a man named Woke Maduka, known far and wide as the infamous sugar daddy Woke. Woke was a man of contradictions. To the men of Nanka, he was a symbol of success, a man who had climbed the ladder of wealth from nothing to become one of the richest in the region. To the women, he was a charmer, a smooth-talking seducer who always had a smile on his face and a gift in his hands, but beneath his polished exterior lay the heart of stone. His wealth had not been earned solely through hard work, but through cunning dealings. In his mansion, Woke sat in his luxurious armchair, his eyes scanning the town below as if they were his kingdom. His mind was preoccupied with the thought of Amaka, the only woman who had ever dared to reject him. How can she resist me, Woke, who can give her everything she desires? He muttered to himself, his eyes narrowing. His pride has been wounded, and for the first time in his life, he felt the burning need to possess something that he could not easily have. But Amaka was different. She was not like the other women who had been fallen for his charms. She was strong-willed, intelligent, and grounded in her values. Her refusal to be swayed by wealth only made her more alluring to Woke, like a rare gem hidden among ordinary stones. As he sat there, plotting his next move, the sky darkened, and a gust of wind blew through the open windows of his mansion. It was as if the spirits themselves were warning him, but Woke was too consumed by his desire to notice. That night, he could not sleep. His thoughts were consumed by Amaka, and the idea of possessing her became an obsession. Finally, unable to resist any longer, he made his way to the priest's shrine under the cover of darkness. The shrine was a small, dimly lit hut on the outskirts of the town, surrounded by thick vegetation. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of burning herbs, and the walls were adorned with charms and symbols of the spirits. The priest sat cross-legged on the floor, waiting for Woke's arrival. "I see you have come," the priest said, without looking up. "You seek the power to make her yours." Woke nodded, his throat dry. "I will do whatever it takes." The priest's eye flashed with something unreadable as he reached into his bag and pulled out a carved structure. "This is a powerful charm," he said, handing it to Woke. "Keep it close to you and it will bind you to her. But remember, the spirit will demand something in return." Woke took the charm, his fingers trembling slightly as he held it. "What do they want?" The priest's smile was chilling. "That it is for them to decide. For now, know this, Woke. Once you have called upon the spirit, there is no turning back." Woke left the shrine with the charm in his pocket, feeling a mixture of excitement and dread. He was confident that the charm would work, but the priest's word echoes in his mind, filling him with unease. The next morning, Woke sent his servant to deliver the charm to Amaka's home, disguised as a simple gift. When Amaka received the package, she felt an inexplicable heaviness in the air. She opened the box and found a statue. A shiver ran down her spine, but she dismissed it as a trick of the mind. "Mama, look at this," Amaka called at her mother. Woke sent another gift. Enkay entered the room. Her eyebrow frowned as she looked at the statue. "That man will not give up, will he? But be careful, my daughter. There is something off about his gift." Amaka nodded, but she placed the statue on the shelf, thinking it was harmless. That night, strange things began to happen in their home. Amaka had vivid dreams of being chased by shadows, and she woke up with cold sweats, her heart pounding. Outside, the wind hollowed, and the trees bent as if they were barren for an unforeseen force. Enkay noticed the change in the air too. She was a woman of deep faith and strong institution, and she knew that something was not right. "Amaka, we must seek the guidance of the spirit," she said, her voice filled with urgency. "This is no ordinary gift. But Amaka, though shaken by her dreams, did not believe in such things. Mama, it is just a statue. There is no need to worry. Nika shook her head, her eyes filled with concern. My daughter, do not underestimate the power of the unseen. We must go to Ezeanoche, the chief, and ask for his counsel. Reluctantly, Amaka agreed, and the next day they made their way to the palace of Ezeanoche, the respected leader of Ananka. The palace was a grand statue adorned with symbols of power and tradition. Ezeanoche was a man of wisdom, known for his fairness and deep connection to the spirit world. When they arrived, Ezeanoche listened to Nika as she explains the strange occurrence and the gift from Woki. His face grew serious and he nodded slowly. The spirits are restless, he said in a deep voice. Woki has tampered with force beyond his understanding. The charm he gave to you as a gift is not a gift but a curse. We must perform a cleansing ritual to appease the spirits before they unleash their wrath upon this land. Neka's heart sank as she realized the gravity of the situation. She had underestimated the power of the unseen, and now she and her mother were caught in the web of darkness. As the days passed, the once peaceful town of Nanka was plagued into chaos. The sky darkened with an enormous cloud, and territorial rains battered the land. Crops withered, and livestock fell ill. The village whispered of the angry spirits, and among them, they began to avoid Woki, blaming him for their calamity. Woki, once confident and proud, now found himself haunted by nightmares and strange visions. He would wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in heat and sweat, hearing the whispers of the spirits in the darkness. They haunted him, reminding him of the price he had had to pay, and the territorially battled the land. In desperation, Woki returned to the priest, demanding for him to reverse the ritual. But the priest only shook his head, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and disdain. The spirits cannot be controlled, Woki. You sought their power, and now you must face the consequences. Only way to appease them is to offer a sacrifice. Woki's heart raced as he realized what the priest was suggesting. A sacrifice? What kind of sacrifice? The priest's voice was calm but firm. A life, Woki. The spirit demands a life in exchange of whatever you've taken. Woki staggered back, his mind reeling. He had never imagined that his desire for Amaka would lead him down such a dark path. But now, there was ways to find out. The spirit had marked him, and they would not rest until they had their sacrifice. In the following days, Woki became a possessed man. He avoided the villagers, locking himself in his mansion as the spirit presence grew stronger. He knew the time was running out, and he feared that the spirit would take someone close to him if he did not act soon. As the storm cloud gathered over Nanka, Amaka knew the time had come to confront Woki. Guided by the spirit of Nanka, who had visited her in her dream, she set out for his mansion, demanding the end of the curse that had befallen their land. When she arrived, she found Woki sitting alone in his grand living room. His once confident demon replaced by a haunted, desperate look. The mansion, once filled with laughter and luxury, now felt cold and lifeless. Woki, Amaka's voice was firm as she approached him. This must end. You have brought misery to our land with your greed and your foolish attempt to control the spirits. Woki looked up to her, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and regret. Amaka, he began. The spirit demands a sacrifice. But it does not have to be life. There should be another way, Amaka said. Woki's eyes widened with hope. What way? Tell me, Amaka. You must give up everything, Amaka said, her voice soft but resolute. Your wealth, your power, your mansion, all of it must be returned to the land and the people of Nanka. Only then will the spirit be appeased. Woke stared at her in disbelief. Give up everything? The very thought of it was unbearable. But as he looked into Amaka's eyes, he saw the truth. He had no choice. If he did not act now, the spirit would take everything from him, including his life. With a heavy heart, Woke nodded. I will do it, he said, his voice barely a whisper. The following days, the entire town gathered in the village square as Woke made a public confession and announced that he would be releasing all his wealth and properties, which will be redistributed among the people of Nanka. The villagers watched in awe as the once powerful sugar daddy Woke humbled himself before them, finally realizing the true cause of his greed. As the final act of atonement, Woke handed over the statue to Ezanochi, who performed a cleansing ritual to free the town from the spirit's wrath, and the sky cleared, the rain ceased, and the land began to heal. But even the town celebrates their newfound peace. Woke was not free from the spirit. The ritual had appeased them for now, but the spirit had tasted his greed, and they were satisfied with his life. Woke sat in his hut one fateful night. He had nothing left, no money, no power, no friends. He had become a shadow of himself. His once former self tormented him by the memories of his past. As he sat there staring into the darkness, he felt a cold breeze brush against his skin. The air grew heavy and the shadow in the room began to shift slowly. The spirits materialized before him, their ghostly form swaying around him like a suffocating frog. Okay, their voice whispers in unison. You have given us your wealth, but we are still hunger. Your greed has bound you to us, and now we come for your soul. Woke's heart pounded in his chest as he realized the truth. The spirit had never intended to leave him in peace. They had only been waiting for the right moment to claim their final prize. With a scream of terror, Woke tried to flee, but the spirit was relentless. They surrounded him. Their cold, ethereal hands gripped him, pulling him into the darkness. His cries echoed through the land, but no one heard him. The spirit had come to collect their dues, and Woke's fate was sealed. When the villagers found his lifeless body the next morning, they were struck by the expression of horror frozen on his face. His once vibrant eyes were now dull and empty, and his body was twisted in a way that no one could explain. It was clear that they had met the worst fate than death, consumed by the very force he sought to control. The tragedy of Sugar Daddy Woke became a cautionary tale in Nanka, a reminder that greed and ambition, when left unchecked, could lead to unimaginable circumstances. The people of Nanka rebuilt the land, and they never forgot the lesson of the past.